morning I'm thinking like, what if it did work? What if you took action and made it happen and started living inside of your purpose? What if it did work? Right now you can make the choice to never listen to that negative voice no more.
Technology did not screw me over again today. Good evening,
Technology,
folks.
man. Technology.
Yes, welcome to What If It Did Work. February is the new January. And of course, I am David Speck, who is currently streaming live. And we have Omar Madrano, not to be confused with Omar Madran from LSU.
Not to be confused with Omar Madran from LSU or Omar Madrana, if for some people.
Yeah, so good to see everybody tonight. Hopefully you tell us where you are in the chat, etc. Omar, what good is a goal if we can't get it done?
It's just a dream, man. That's why, it's like all those, it's fine. You all need to have a dream, but without putting anything in place, without having a goal, without having a timeline of like a deadline or taking action, might as well go to my favorite place, Disney World. It's called Fantasyland, either Fantasyland or Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland, one day. No, it's never. Fantasyland is like, yeah, I want to, I want to live off the Mediterranean with a yacht, and I want to go to Ibiza and party, or I want to live right next to Ty Lopez in Beverly Hills. Okay. So what are you going to do? Well, I'm just going to keep on dreaming. Yeah. Maybe I'll put it on a poster board and I'll manifest it.
And yeah, manifesting. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. But I do want to add something about what you said about deadlines. So I used to be quite the slob. Okay. I was just like my desk would like have the mound of paper on it. I'm aging myself now. But every Monday, my bosses would come over to the office to have a meeting with me. And so you know what I did every Monday morning before they got there? Drawer. But what it taught me was that the deadline or the accountability of them showing up made it to where I got into the routine of cleaning off my desk space. Then the routine turned into a habit. And now it's like I can't hardly stand a messy desk. It's one of those things where it's like it becomes part of who you are. And so any of the things that we talk about tonight with regard to time management or productivity, they're only as good as you're willing to implement them. They're only as good as the habit you're willing to form. We talked about, I think, making the bed last night. Until it becomes a part of who you are, it's just going to be something that you just try, and then it just goes by the wayside and you fall back into your old habits. So
habits don't happen after 21 days. That's just like something you buy on a poster with all the posters that say teamwork, leadership, dream work, all that crap.
I had all of those in my conference room.
Literally, a perfect example, the 75-day hard challenge, done that multiple times. You have to read 10 pages. You have to drink a gallon of water. I don't. After day 76, 77, I stopped. It's something. If now it took such a long time of working out that it became second nature. Each person and each thing, if it's something that you eventually start, you enjoy, or you feel like you must do, then you will adapt. But I can eat Brussels sprouts for a month, gag on them. That doesn't mean on day 22, I'm like, oh man, this is it. This is my new habit.
Right. So as we talk about a few things, and you said, like you said, if it's apps, you're gonna leave it to the techie over here. But here's a system that I want to share with you. And I don't know, have you ever heard the story of the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand?
No, but you're going to tell me.
I am going to tell you and everybody else. So,
it's with the water vase.
Yeah, the water vase story.
Yeah, of course.
The teacher.
You might be old. I'm old, but you're older. But yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Aesop's tale, I believe,
Yeah,
right?
I think so. Yeah, I've always heard it in the context of, a teacher showing their class, and what he does, he fills the jar with rocks, big rocks, boom, 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 and he says, "Is the jar full?" And the class says, "Yes, it is." So then he gets a bowl of pebbles like gravel, and he starts filling it up in there, and it's filling in between the big rocks, and it comes to the top, and he goes, "Okay, now is it full?" And they're like, "Well, yeah, now it's full. You've put pebbles in there." And then he gets a container of sand and starts pouring the sand in there, and it starts filling the nooks and crannies between the rocks and the pebbles. And the lesson was, there are certain things that we need to do that are rocks, certain things that we need to do that are pebbles, and certain things that we need to do that are sand. The rocks are the things that shouldn't be moved, the things that you've got to do each and every day. Maybe it is you're eating Brussels sprouts, or it's reading the 10 pages, or it's the meeting or the conversation you don't want to have. You put that as the rock in your schedule. And then there's the things that you can do, but if they don't get done, it's not the end of the world. And that is the pebbles in your vase. And then the third thing is the things you'd like to do, but it really doesn't matter if it happens or not. You can work those out in the nooks and the crannies of your day, and that is the sand. So if we begin to prioritize the rocks, the pebbles, and the sand, we can get far more done, because the rocks you should do first. It's like, what do they say? Well, if you have to eat a frog, eat it first thing in the morning. The things that you absolutely have to do it first, then move to your pebbles. Because in pebble world, you can get distractions. In sand world, distractions are not a problem. But in rock world, don't let the distractions hit you. Make sure that the rocks in your schedule get accomplished.
Well, one of the things that for procrastination, because I was like Annie, it was always like tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. Didn't have daddy warbucks with me, and I'm not ginger, but just start. Just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to do it for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. If I'm too tired or this sucks, I'll do the rest another day. Once there's action, once there's progress, once there's energy going, no sane person is going to be like, yeah, I just started. I'll stop. I'll do it again tomorrow. No, you're going to be like, screw it. You're going to be in that state. You're going to be in that zone. And no matter what it is, you're going to be like, let's knock this out now. And that's just something you can do.
Yeah, and I would say too that our brains typically make it seem a lot harder than it really is. I can't tell you the number of home projects that I've had to do, repairs or whatever, that are like, I just, I'd rather take a bullet than get it done. And then when I finally get past all of that and I go do it, I'm like, why didn't I do this 3 months ago? Why didn't I do this last week? Why didn't I do this Monday? So I think not every time, but a lot of times, if you'll just go ahead and take the action and do it, you'll find out it wasn't as bad as you thought it was gonna be. We always pick on the gym because, you and I so love going to the gym. But the truth of the matter is, it's that action of getting there that is the hardest. Once you get to the gym, you've got your routine, you go through the motions, you do the things, you're on the treadmill for X amount of time, you do so many sets and so many reps or whatever. But the hardest part is making yourself get in the car and drive down to the gym.
Well, you hate the gym. The only gym that scares me is Jim Jones.
Okay. Yes. I hate the gym. My name is David, and I'm not a gymaholic. What would be the opposite of a gymaholic? I don't know. Anyway.
I don't know, because if you think about it, when I was in town, we could have gone working out together at Crunch. You're a member, aren't you?
I said no, and then
Exactly.
I joined like a month later.
Exactly. And it was completely empty because once again, it wasn't a new year. It wasn't January. It wasn't 2024 yet.
So here's a practical step to create your rocks. And it doesn't matter what app you pick. I'm gonna talk about Google Calendar for a minute. I've been using Google Calendar since I think 2007. And one of the beautiful things about it is you can put that in there and make your time busy. And when you're busy, your computers, your phones, whatever, many times will go into do not disturb mode. That means people can't schedule on your Calendly. People can't, if they text you, it won't come all the way through to what you're doing. So I tend to put my rocks on Google Calendar so that I have, it might not be distraction free, but it's certainly distraction reduced.
I get it. I hear you.
And I'll tell people if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't exist.
I've got Calendly. I pay for that, but I what I'd tell anybody, just outsource your weakness, because I'm messy. I suck at paperwork. I suck in accounting, bookkeeping, but I know if I put in my time, all the effort and all the energy, it would get done. Half-ass it, and there'd be mistakes. So save your time and just outsource this. Outsource it. It's like the person that's like, wow, I saved $10 and I washed my car. You have to ask yourself, did you really save $10? Did you really save $20? Or could you have written that book that you want, a page or two, a chapter? Could you have gone to the gym? Could you have cold called? Could you have done a marketing presentation? Could you have done something more productive? That was a lesson I learned, because for years, being a business owner, I was like, man, I'm saving money if I work as a team member too. And then it dawned on me, I'm like, am I saving $9 an hour, or am I losing a lot more money?
Yeah, I see that a lot out of entrepreneurs, especially founders, the people who started the business or bought the franchise or whatever. There's this whole concept, in the early days, it is all on you, right? You don't have the revenue or the resources initially to outsource everything you want to. But what I see is that as they grow, they can't scale because they're tied down to the business, right? They're working in the business instead of on the business.
Of course.
And the person who's like, I'm busy all the time. Well, I hope you're not busy for busy's sake. Like you said, good leaders, they'll do three things. They will either delegate, automate, or eliminate in order to free up their mind and free up their time to do the things that are really important. And that's hard for a founder. That's hard for the guy whose baby it is, because that nobody's going to do it the way you're going to do it. Nobody's going to care as much. I tell people all the time, nobody loves your dog as much as you love your dog. But at some point, 80% has to be good enough. 80% of the way you would do it has to be good enough. And to free up your mind and your time to work on the most important things, which would be scaling your business, taking care of your personal health, doing all the things. There's no point in working 16 hours a day for 20 years and keel over dead and have nothing to show for it other than the business that you started.
The thing with entrepreneurs is we're so narcissistic. We believe we're like Warren Buffett, or we're like Carnegie or Vanderbilt or Rockefeller, that we have this huge empire that nobody can be as smart as us. Not only that, but it's also like a dictatorship a lot of times. Are you telling me I can't have complete control? Because if I outsource it, or if I delegate and I tell someone else to do it, but I do it best. This is my baby. It's like, yeah, no joke. No joke. Nobody's going to care as much because, one, they don't have skin in the game. This is your baby. This is your livelihood. Things go south, that other person is looking for a job on Indeed or Monster or on LinkedIn, while you're singing the blues.
Yeah, I would venture to say too, anybody who's watching this, especially in the business world, when they set their goals for 2024, doing the cash sheet at the end of the day better than I did in 2023 was not one of them. And yet we take the actions as if that is the case. And so, the advice tonight is stop. Stop doing it. You lack discipline. To do a little Arnold there, but it's true. We We are narcissistic when it comes to our babies. We are all about us and how great we are and how great we did and how great this is. But the truly great ones are the ones who learn to let go.
Oh yeah, of course.
I don't think Warren Buffett gives two flips at what Joe Blow real estate agent in Murfreesboro that works for Berkshire Hathaway, whether they hit their goals or not this month.
You don't think he's looking at all
Looking
the,
at overall, but he ain't looking at that
you
individual.
don't think he's looking at the Dairy Queen numbers to see all the blizzards are coming up satisfactorily? He's not looking at the Q&As? No, man. I not even. But if you think about it, all of them, they let control. Whether it's Steve Jobs, even before he died, I mean, he had a full empire there. Two people come to mind. Howard Schultz, last I recalled, third time he retired as CEO, founder of Starbucks. I don't think he was the last time he made coffee was probably like what, 30 years ago or whatever, when he had one location,
Right.
two locations. Walt Disney. If it was only he and his brother still doing shorts, there wouldn't be this empire. There wouldn't be ESPN. There wouldn't be, you know, all this stuff that they, parks and theme parks. You have to let go. The way to grow is to let go. And like, since we're talking pop culture, like what Robert Van Winkle of Vanilla Ice once said, you have to collaborate and listen.
Yeah. You brought up some very valid ones, but I think also of like Ray Kroc. I don't think he flipped a single McDonald's hamburger.
But the best part about Ray Kroc is when everybody says they're too old, he didn't find the McDonald brothers until he was well into his 50s.
Yeah. And that's what I say, and the title of my book, Old Dogs, New Tricks. I still believe 100% that in your 50s is some of your most productive years in your life, because you have enough wisdom to make more good decisions than bad if you've learned over the course of your lifetime, and you have a level of competence and respect that you can really move. You can shorten the distance between beginning and success because of all these factors. So to me, and I think you'll agree with this, we are the most in need of structure to handle our days, to handle those tasks, because we do have a tendency to go after more because we know we can. Confidence sometimes breeds arrogance, and we got to be able to stay in our lane and accomplish those things, or else we're just throwing spaghetti against the wall and hoping something sticks.
Well, arrogance usually is when you go Hollywood. It's like the Ed Orgeron, LSU coach syndrome is once you hit success, you feel like you've arrived. And the reason why I always call it you've gone Hollywood is because USC, the Matt Leinarts, the Reggie Bushes, on and on, all these skilled players, well, they went Hollywood. They went to LA to go to college. All the celebs partied left and right. They're the greatest athletes. They didn't really have to try. They just showed up. Well, they got drafted. Okay, you have to be more, do more in the NFL. Well, now you're playing in places like Buffalo, Cleveland, Minneapolis. And these players on these other teams are just as good as you. But they were all busts. How is that? It's because they went Hollywood. They lost the fire. They're like, well, I'm successful. No, you're not.
Yeah, and I would say that the most successful are never satisfied.
No.
I think about Nick Saban. We talk about him all the time, but
24-hour rule.
Yeah, and I would go out venture to say too, it's so much harder to stay on top than it is to get on top, because there's so when you reach the pinnacle of your prospective sport in your industry, whatever. Now you have the target on your back. You really didn't have the target on your back during the climb. But when you get to the top, that's when you're like, oh, he's the standard. We're going after the standard. And it's a lot of times harder to stay number one than it is to climb to number one.
Yeah, exactly. But it's more about the mindset, because the great ones, Wayne Gretzky, Kobe Bryant, Tom Brady, Nick Saban, Michael Jordan, they all had the 24-hour rule. Hey, we did great. We won. Okay, well, season's over. What are we going to do to win? And that you have to be hungry, because either you're the hunter or the hunted. And if you're going to be the hunted and you're just hanging out, they're going to take you out, and they're going to take you out fast. Not only in sports, but in industry. And that's why you always have to be hungry. You always have to be on your toes. 20 years, I always had competitors trying to encroach my kingdom, but I was always a step ahead, because that's how I was as an entrepreneur. Now, not being an entrepreneur, whomever I'm with, if the company burns down, I'll give them the lighter fluid.
And entrepreneurship is definitely not for the faint of heart either. Not everybody can be one. And
No, that's a hallmark thing. That's the same people that sell the posters on leadership, teamwork. Not everybody's designed. People watch a Gary Vee video and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to follow my passion. I'm going to open up a baseball card store. I'm going to open up my vegan muffins, my bakery. And they get their ass handed out to them. And then they don't understand, as an entrepreneur, there is no clocking out.
right.
When you're an entrepreneur, when you're working for someone, or you're the Indian and not the chief. I'm sorry, not being politically correct there, but you're the worker bee and not the queen. You get to clock out. You get to relax. The owner is on 24/7.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And even if we could clock out, we can't. Our brains won't let us. Our heart and soul won't let us, because we have so much invested in it. I think this is a great segue to a mindset about time that I was taught a long time ago, that I think if anybody who has made it all the way to this point in the video, in the live, they deserve the best hack that I have, and that is the mindset about time. And here it goes. Your past is concrete. There's nothing you can do to change it. There's nothing you can do it's there, and it's always going to be there exactly the way it was. Your future is a vapor. You have no idea what it holds. It doesn't, there's inside and outside forces. There's no way to accurately predict it with 100% certainty. All you have is the present, and you have full control over your present. If you live in your present and do things in your present, don't worry about what took place in the past, and don't put things off to the future. You will get more done than you ever thought possible.
That's profound. But it's true, man. Everybody just focuses on their losses, focuses on their past. And you're gonna feel sad even if it was an amazing past, because you can't go back to it. We don't have a flux capacitor. We don't know Doc Brown. We don't know Marty.
Yeah,
We
you're
don't
right.
know the McFlies.
Yeah, the past is concrete, and that's good or bad. I mean, I know a bunch of people. Oh, I say a bunch. I know enough people that felt like they peaked in high school, and then they
No,
floundered post
I,
high school.
I had that. Welcome to my high school.
Yeah,
I'm just joking.
yeah,
Not
yeah. All your high school buddies that are watching tonight, he's kidding, really. But it's true. I mean, how many people have you go back to the reunion, and they're still doing the same things. They're still, drinking their beer on Friday night, doing, whatever. And they really never push themselves forward, because they never got out of the past. And because the past is concrete, it's going to hold you like a pair of concrete sneakers. And it's going to
well,
drag you
when it
down.
comes, I have friends, buddies that want to talk about the past. Like if, you know, we're watching ESPN Classic, like we're watching Tennessee football on T. Martin's year, their glory year. And it's like, okay, well, that happened, man. But we don't need to relive that. Let's do something amazing now.
Right. Yeah.
But
And
oh, do you remember that time? Do you remember that trip? It's like, yeah, that's 30 years ago. What are we doing now?
yeah, you
You
did
you
great.
can't you can't move forward until you forget about that.
Yeah. Whether you did great in the past, got screwed in the past, made mistakes in the past, again, it doesn't, there's nothing that's going to change that.
Exactly. When people want to give me a hug based on my past, or because I only talk about it as a frame point to this is where I am, this is where I was and this is where I'm at. I don't need somebody to come hug me, you know. Cyber hugs preferable because I'm an introvert. I really don't like the
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
exactly. I'm not Howie Mandel, but I'm very standoffish. But it's like people like that because when somebody wants to run up to you and hug you based on your past, it's because really it gives them permission to, oh, I've had a bad past too. I can understand.
Yeah, I would say, and I would say too, being concrete, you can always go back there to remember the lessons. And then, but don't let it drag you back to the experience.
Or just reflect.
Yeah.
Once in a blue moon, it's okay to reflect and go, holy smokes, like that saying, the old you 5 years ago would be so proud. And at the end of the day, we should be proud. You're alive, you're healthy.
Absolutely. So, time hacks. It's about priorities. It's about mindset, and it's about using tools that work for you, whether it's apps and calendars, or if it's delegation and automation. The truth of the matter is, you're only going to go as far as you allow yourself to go through your structure. And if you're not willing to put structure into your life, you are going to flounder. You are going to float, if you will, to without any real sense of direction. So structure's our friend. We're not telling you which structure to use, but we are telling you that you do need to use a structure. I think that's going to do it for us tonight, Omar. Back here tomorrow night, same time, same station. We'll be talking about the positive mindset of making your February into a great January and launching forward into a great 2024.
2024, new year, new me.
Every day, every week. Remember, you only have
Every day in every way. I'm getting stronger and stronger there, Dave.
There you go, sir. Appreciate you. We'll see you next time around.
All right.
I'm thinking like, what if it did work? What if you took action and made it happen and started living inside of your purpose? What if it did work? Right now you can make the choice to never listen to that